Out in the staging lanes.
We've had a lot of vehicles.
There is the ambulance. Everybody is waiting for this 63 Bonneville ambulance to make its way to the stage. It's now in the building. It'll make a left turn up the ramp and across the block. And the question is simply, is it or isn't it? All the rumors about decoys, all the rumors about vehicles that might have been crushed, that might or might not have been the actual Kennedy ambulance. It was a different time, not only in terms of everyday American life, but also in terms of media coverage. Could you imagine an assassinated president who, in this day and age, whose coffin came off an airplane, was put in an ambulance and sent across Washington, D.C., and people lose track of it?
I'm guessing not.
Exactly.
And they're doing something very unusual on the stage. They have cleared the stage of bidders. And you know how many bidders are on here on a regular basis. They've cleared both sides, gotten everybody off the stage to make way for this ambulance that's just pulling in.
What they want to do as far as the bid goes. Again, you're going to know everything we know, and I'm going to make sure of that here as soon as we get the vehicle.
Bob, I'm sure the conspiracy theorists are working double overtime to discredit this entire scenario. I have spoken with a couple of Barrett-Jackson people about it, and they have all sorts of letters and documentation. It is my belief, and I may be completely wrong, that if there were credible evidence that this car was fake, phony, or not what it is being purported to, they wouldn't be selling it. They have too much risk to do that.
As we may have discussed earlier, a year ago we had a car here at Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale purported to have belonged to rock and roll pioneer Buddy Holly. But doing their due diligence, there was some information that came forward to the folks at Barrett-Jackson. They decided, no, we can't be sure, so we pull it. But in this case, they have not pulled this vehicle because they have not found, in their words, enough evidence that it is not what it is purported to be. So is this an authentic relic of the end of Camelot in 1963 or not? There's just a small portion of the information gathered, much of it from the federal government under Freedom of Information Act requests. How do you put a number on it?
Let me show you some of this supporting information for what we have here. It begins with an order from the Attorney General in the dark days following the assassination to the Surgeon General's office to find information on any items that were used post-assassination. This letter from a Rear Admiral in the Surgeon General's office lists the VIN number, the U.S. Naval registration number, and it was sent to Superior Coach that built the ambulance. Here is the response from Superior Coach confirming the naval registration number, as we've seen in the historical photographs, and the VIN number. The VIN number matches up with the Pontiac Motor Division build sheet. All of this comes together. Thank the U.S. Navy for their record keeping and this data plate, which is on the car's glove box on the right-hand side. Model, serial number, capacity, and all the information needed to service this, but most importantly, the VIN number is on here. The engine serial number, the U.S. Naval registration number matches that in the photographs, the Superior Coach build number. This data plate is the key to the authenticity of this vehicle as being that particular United States Navy ambulance.
Well, now the final judgment of the bidders begins.
Of course, we all know that for the most part, the Detroit Big Three were not involved in assembling ambulances, and that is the case here. This began life as a Bonneville station wagon, which was then sent to Superior Coach for conversion into an ambulance. Of course, there's quite a serious group of people who are into these commercial cars, and a big group of people who love them. Flower cars, hearses, ambulances. So they're quite collectible in their own right, let alone the historic value of this one.
There's the data plate on the glove box that Mike described. I have an email from Mike McRae saying that the vehicle is presented without side curtains. All of the ambulance fleet in 63, says Mike, had side curtains. Does anyone know where they might be? Well, Mike, obviously you saw the pictures. This car was in pretty sad shape when Dr. Jensen bought it out of a Kansas junkyard. The curtains long gone.
Everybody remembers where they were on this day.
Bob, those newsreel images of the First Lady and Attorney General RFK, I find absolutely haunting.
Mm-hmm. Certainly all Americans of a certain age remember where they were. I certainly do. In a school assembly in junior high school.
Yeah, I remember I was in 3rd grade sitting in the classroom, had just seen PT 109. You know, rarely does a 3rd grader have that much connection with the President of the United States, but I had it that day.
And so the bidders have voted $120,000. You be the judge at home. Is that a fairly priceless bit of American history bought for $120,000? Perhaps it's a bargain at that price. We'll take a break and return with more of the Barrett-Jackson from Scottsdale.